Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. Coast to coast college football.
Oh, the band is out on the field. He's going to go into the end zone. He's going to go out of there.
The sickest college football podcast.
There goes Davis. Oh, my God. Davis is going to run it all the way back. Auburn's going to win the football game. Auburn's going to win the football game. He ran the missed field goal back. He ran it back 109 yards.
It's going to be sick.
That's right.
That's right.
It's the Sick Podcast, Coast to Coast College Football Show. I'm John Lund, the East Coast side. He's Dan Lynch, the West Coast transplant, still on the East Coast. Dan, you're getting a little homey at the old homestead. You might not want to go back to the West Coast the way things are going over here. Although you had to sit through a Giants game on Monday Night Football. That's well enough, a good enough reason to get the hell back out of here.
Yeah, well, it felt like a Monday. But yeah, it was one of the roughest game fan experiences I've ever been to, man. I'm lucky enough. I've been to so many great Giant games in my life, but last night was one to forget, my friend. The traffic.
You didn't enjoy Russell Wilson throwing the ball out of the end zone on a 4th in the game, not even giving anybody a chance to catch it, just slinging it out. Forget it.
My father and myself were well gone before then.
Probably the best decision he could have made.
We
try to beat any of the traffic you can.
Yeah, we didn't have a kicker going into the game.
Yep, never good.
Taylor Swift wasn't there.
Nope, not good either.
But Lawrence Taylor was there. Did you see? If you saw what the Giants did, that was pretty.
Of course.
Actually, that was the best thing they actually did all night. Like that was the best thing they've done all season, actually. So, yeah, it was a rough one, but the memories will last forever.
Well, week 4 was a rough one for some teams.
Yeah.
And specifically one where their head coach ended up in tears after yet another loss. This one, the least expected of the 3 that they now have through 4 games. And we, of course, start our week 4 recap again with the Clemson Tigers.
Yeah.
I have a $50 futures bet for them to win the college football playoff. That would have paid out $600. There's a cash out option currently on FanDuel. And if I were to accept it, I would get back 15 cents. So that's kind of where their season's at. My bet is now worth 15 cents. I don't think they're going to win the national championship this year. I don't think they're going to get to the ACC championship game. I don't think this is the season for the Clemson Tigers, despite what we heard coming into the year, that they would be back to their usual prominence, at least in the ACC. That has not been the case. Dabo taking the high road today on Monday, we record this, and he said he's looking up. We're not going to win the national championship this year, but we could at least win the season. So he's taking the high road of things. Thankfully, didn't throw anybody under the bus this week after the loss. Cade Klubnik, on the other hand, not too happy with the Syracuse defenders, potentially faking injuries, which got them a $25,000 fine after he brought that up after the game. Thoughts where you stand on the Clemson Tigers, who had all the positives and optimism coming into this season. Again, we talked about it on the show. You could swallow the losses that they've had. Georgia Tech, your sleeper to win the ACC, to be one of the top teams. They're proven to do that, still unbeaten. But Syracuse at home, scoring just 21 points, getting shellacked on defense. Their starting quarterback, who knows what happened with his injury, but it looked like it could be season-ending, non-contact. Their backup comes in. They don't miss a beat necessarily. Oh, we only gave up X amount of points, Dabo said after the game. Yeah, their backup was in, dude, for starters. Yeah. What's up with the Clemson Tigers? What do you even say at this point?
I don't know. I mean, going into the season, if you look at so many people's preseason polls, they were, on average 3, 2, sometimes even 1. The first thing I see when you just watch Clemson, it's just their effort. Like, they don't run to the ball. when they're jumping back in coverage, it's just like, oh, we're already back here. So now I'm going to start sprinting here. It's an effort thing, and that starts with the coaches. Like, if you're not out there and you don't want to run through a wall for your coach, then you're screwed from the beginning there. So 1, 2, their offensive line, like, if you look at it, man, I think 4 or 5 are returning players, and all upperclassmen too, who are just getting beat up. And they talk about their like defensive line, these kids coming in, 5-star recruits. Where have they been?
Yeah.
I can't tell you where they've been. They've just been out physicaled. And it's just not the same Clemson team that we're used to seeing on a yearly basis. And you just have to remind yourself, like, hey, Dabo has won a lot in this conference. He obviously knows what he's doing, but I think he got caught up of just being like, hey, this method's going to work this year, and it worked for me 5 years ago. But the college football really just caught up to him. But I felt for him, like, in a weird way. I was like, I don't want to see Dabo cry. Like, Dabo is a good guy. He's so nice. Like, he really is. And when he comes on and does interviews, like, he does do a full effort. And he's pretty candid about a lot of stuff, and he's pretty entertaining. But man, something is missing down there. The players don't want to play for him. If I'm Clemson's coaching staff today, or you go back to Sunday, right? You watch the film on Sunday. I'm saying to these kids, like, hey, man, if you don't want to play for me, like, I can't put myself out there for you guys to play like crap. So here, redshirt, take the year, transfer out, and go, and give me kids who are going to give me effort, because there's kids on that roster who probably obviously are not as talented as these 5-star kids, who will at least give effort and at least try and at least pay attention to the play call and try to put it out on the field. Something's got to change there, but the change is not at the top. The change is just with the personnel. Cade Klubnik, I mean, man, I was wrong on him. I really was. I think he's still a hell of an athlete, but that one hit, I'll just go back to the Georgia Tech game. He's running like I think it was an RPO to like the outside, and this kid just came right for his thigh, fumbles the ball. And I'm like, man, the soul just got kicked out of his body. Like that, just man, that hurts. And it's a mental game. As much as it is a physical game, it's a very big mental game. His mental game is not strong right now. So overall, disappointing. This happens in college football, and here's another credit to it. The ACC is a lot better than a lot of people thought.
Yeah.
But there's 3 or 4 teams who are probably the top of it. So a question for you on the ACC. We could say Miami is probably number 1, obviously. You go Florida State at 2, right? Georgia Tech at 3. Who's that 4th team for you? Because I've been trying to think about this all day long, and I can't give an answer. Last week I would have said Cal, but then Cal puts up a goose egg this week. So I'm like, it's not the Golden Bears. Is it for Virginia, I guess?
Virginia, I guess. It's tough for the probable 4th or even better than that. People thought SMU might be able to continue their hot streak.
Sonny Dykes said, hello, I'm Sonny to them.
They've had 2 tough losses to Big 12 opponents. Now, they ran the table in the conference play last year, so they could still easily do that and only wind up with 2 losses again. But if you look at what the teams have done so far, Virginia has shown that they're at least going to be competitive in their games. Yeah. I do a Louisville podcast now, so I'm in tune to what's going on with them, but they haven't played anybody yet to be able to say whether or not they're going to be one of the top teams. And you couldn't even see them in full action against Bowling Green, because before the game, they're like, hey, our one backup running back, our 1-2 combo, he's not playing at all. And Isaac Brown, who was a Heisman hopeful after his first couple of games, he's limited. And he had 1 carry in the first quarter or the first half, and you didn't see him again for the rest of the game. And they're both banged up. They're going to Pitt for week 5.
Yeah.
Jeff Brom said today he's not sure what's going on with their lower leg injuries. He hopes to have them back. So you can't really have a gauge on them without 2 of their best players and not having that running game yet. So, I mean, Virginia is the team to show up and show out, because Duke was disappointing to start their season. They obviously had a great win for this weekend. We know what's gone on with North Carolina. We know what's gone on after that game with Cal. And Georgia Tech has really been the surprise team to show themselves now at 4-0 and not having the worst of schedules along the way, where as long as they don't shoot themselves in the foot, they most likely will find themselves at least with an opportunity to play for the ACC championship game. But it's nice to see some competition, at least from some of the quote-unquote lesser teams that have been in that league over the last couple of years. But you figured, you thought, you assumed it would be Clemson and everybody else. And we'd see about Miami. We'd see about if SMU could do it, and we'd see who else would be able to hang with them. Florida State has obviously been a surprise based off what they did last year. But overall, they're sneaky, kind of staying in the background, don't have the spotlight on us necessarily. And one or two of those teams that we just mentioned could rise through the ranks and put themselves in a good position if Florida State and Miami were to lose a couple as the season goes on, because Clemson could easily now just start picking off teams, maybe without having pressure. Things will start coming together, but it's just disappointing based on their expectations, and disappointing when you're able to hold on to a quarterback for as long as they've had Cade Klubnik now in his third year as a starter, because it's rare that you're able to hold on to guys now. He could have tried the draft. He could have tried God knows what. He could have transferred for more money. But Dabo said, he's our guy. And there they were again against Syracuse. 4th down, game just about on the line. He keeps the ball in Cade's hands on an RPO instead of pitching it left where he had his running back after the defender decided, well, I'm just going to go straight at Cade. He was getting tackled, and I think he still could have threw it to him because nobody was over on that side. He just took the loss. And we're back at you're trusting Cade Klubnik in these big situations, and he just doesn't come through, unfortunately. And we've seen that year after year now. So it was surprising that they did that in general, but it's surprising to still see it happening. And I don't know what the answer is. You bring in a new defensive coordinator. Saturday was not it for their defense. The other two games, definitely okay, and they should have been okay winning those games, just having to do stuff with the offense. But the defense wasn't there in the first half on Saturday. And who knows what's going on with Dabo. If the guys just, like you said, don't want to play for him anymore, sometimes the time just runs out. And he said after the game, like, this is my life. I've been here 23 years. Like, I don't want to see us lose. I'm not trying to see us struggle. It's obviously something that I give my all for. So, yeah, you felt for him a little bit. But then at the same time, it's like, hey, man, this isn't year one of this NIL transfer portal world.
No.
Like, you have to be comfortable within it now, and it took him forever to try to be comfortable in it, and he's still behind the 8 ball, no question about it. It'll just be fascinating one day, whoever decides to write the book, Mike Gundy and Dabo Swinney, the rise and the fall of those two guys, because from the tops of college football to just not embracing this new age for it. And it's hurt them this last couple of years, and it's probably going to cost them their jobs, whether or not they go to TV or what the next stage is. I can see these schools keeping these guys, and whether they kind of just tell them, hey, I don't know if you want to announce retirement, but you might want to pack your bags and we'll allow you to go out with your head held high, but we got to move in a different direction. The college football world is just moving too fast, man. We can't wait around at these programs that we have now.
Yeah, I think Dabo has a little bit more leeway at Clemson than Gundy does right now. First off, you're playing on Friday night against Tulsa at home, so you got the national audience watching you right now. Tulsa had a backup quarterback playing. And you lost to them. Like, shout out to Tulsa, man. First off, Tulsa it won. Great win. But the American Conference in general, man, like, unbelievable. Slayers of the Power Four. So the American Conference is really good. We did see Tulane lose. We did see USF lose last 2 weeks, but Tulsa getting a huge win there. Also, shout out to their coach who's 36 years old, so that's pretty cool too. But Gundy, I was pretty sure he was gonna get fired on Saturday morning, but they're sticking with him too. maybe they're going on that route where it's like, hey, you've given us a lot. You've turned this program around. Oklahoma State 2 or 3 years ago was in the top 5. They were really good. And just
A
it's
couple
just not
years ago,
happening.
they were literally a yard away from winning the
Yes.
conference when Baylor stuffed them short, and it was a thrilling play for Baylor, but they were right there. I mean, it's not like they've just been this feel-good story type team. You were able
Yeah,
to
no.
pencil Mike Gundy down for 8, 9, 10 wins every
Every
year,
year.
no question asked, and maybe this will be the year where they can eke one more out and get to the Big
I
12
mean, he was
championship
beating
game.
Oklahoma. He was
Yeah,
beating Texas, getting some of the best wide receivers in the country to go there. Great, like really old quarterbacks. He had like 24, 25-year-old
yeah,
quarterbacks who were just slinging the rock there and being like, hey, I'm actually going to go be a minor league baseball player now. It's like, oh, okay, cool. Um,
sure.
but yeah, man, it's weird to say, but I think it's also kind of a good thing for college football that we kind of have this parity and turnover. It's not the same thing every single year.
Right.
But again, we're also as college football fans just not used to it yet. So it's like when you see a Gundy having a bad year, it's like, it doesn't register in my brain of thinking about college football 3 or 4 years ago. Dabo not having a great season. Yeah, man. I mean, but the other side of it too is just like, okay, do you want to be in a situation like Virginia Tech and UCLA where it's just like, man, for the rest of the year, we don't know what's going to happen?
Right.
I don't know. So pick and choose whatever side of the coin you want to flip on and what's going to land on. But I really thought Gundy was going to be gone because you can't lose to a Tulsa team to a backup quarterback on national television at home. Not good.
I thought there was going to be a Herm Edwards situation where he gets to the end zone right before the tunnel and the administration's waiting there to shake his hand and give a little whisper of the year. Like, that was it, man. Little Joe
Hey, Mike.
Pesci walking into the room. This is
Hey,
it.
hey, Mike. You're going to follow me this way, okay? We're going to have a conversation.
I mean, after last season where he restructured his deal and he lowered his buyout and his bonuses were changed, kind of saying to them, like, I'll lean your direction, but let me prove to you that I still know what
Yeah.
I'm doing, and we'll keep some of these incentives in hand. But yeah, you're right. It's kind of becoming a you prove it type couple years for me here, and I have to. It just hasn't gone that way, unfortunately. It's
Yeah.
crazy to watch.
I think he needs to bring the full on late 90s mullet back because
Yeah,
that mullet was his power, right?
yeah,
He has this like Gen Z, like Jerry curl, like shaved on the sides haircut right now. I'm like, Mike, just go with what works, bro. You're in Stillwater, Oklahoma. That works there, bro. Like it just, I don't know. I even saw him on TV and I was like, that doesn't look like Gundy. Gundy's
yeah.
on Ozempic right now. Maybe he just needs to go hunting. Maybe he just hasn't gotten, a good shot lately. I don't know. But again, you also got to look at Oklahoma State's roster. They're very young. They've had quarterback issues there for a couple years. I mean, they've just been really unlucky.
Yeah, I mean, your quarterback breaks his leg to open the season.
Yeah,
Not
that
great when you're
sucks.
already having like 60 different guys coming in to
Exactly.
start the season because you're finally in the transfer portal realm. I mean, that's the thing with Clemson. You would think, based on their record, like that's what happened to Cade. Like he tore his Achilles or something in the first
No.
game, and they don't have that backup, and they're not ready for these types of games. But no, like they've got the guys out there. And it just hasn't happened. It's just been fascinating to watch a couple of these programs. And it's been interesting to see how coaches similar to those positions, especially in college basketball, bigger names have done this.
Yeah.
But the transfer portal and NIL era came and they said, I'm good. I don't want to have to deal with all this. This is
See you
different than
later.
what I signed up for. I'm not going to hire a GM to help run the team. I don't have as much control as I used to, selfishly or not. Like, I'm out. Jay
Yeah.
Wright, Tony Bennett, and of course Roy Williams and Coach K and Jim Boeheim and such, but they're old. Like normalize retiring at 70. Okay.
Yeah.
You
No,
don't need to
totally.
be out there killing yourself when you're past the age of 70 or specifically 73 and you happen to be dating someone who's 49 years younger than you, which, man, the end of that UCF game
Oh,
where they just took the ball in the fourth quarter, ran it down North Carolina's throats, going for it on fourth downs, holding on to the ball and driving the length of the field, pouring it on with another touchdown. This dude has to walk off the field after having to sit through that last drive and have somebody put her arm around him and say, "It's okay, babe. It's only a game." Man, how the mighty have fallen. Can you imagine? Like, you're in the worst mood of your life watching one of the worst team performances you've ever had to deal with as a coach at any level in any position. And after the game, that person that you're dating is probably wondering where you're going to eat, what's on tap for the night, where are we headed? Put the game behind you, coach. It's fine. I mean, you put yourself in your own purgatory and there's nobody else to blame. But I just couldn't imagine having to suffer that disastrous loss in front of the bounce house. And then after the game, "Hey, babe, so where do you want to go?
Yeah.
Where do you want to go grab dinner?" Oh, like,
And you're in Orlando too. You're in Orlando too, right? The game was in at UCF. Like, what's there to eat in Orlando? Like the nicest restaurant there.
I'm sure she had places lined up. There were definitely places to go to after the game. After losing
downtown Disney
Division III football for prestigious King's College, you lose a close game, you don't want to talk to anybody, family, friends. Like, just give me a couple minutes here to just soak in the loss. And she's on the field at halftime. So she's going to be there right after the game to comfort, quote unquote. It has to be the most miserable feeling.
You brought up D3 football. I was at a Kings game this weekend, actually. Went to go see they won. Great game too. And I'm chatting to some Kings College historian. I'm not kidding. This guy knows everything about Kings College. I'm just chatting.
Local college football. There's always one or two guys.
That one guy just knows everything. He sees me. He's like, "Lynch," and I'm like, "What's up, man?" Like, I don't even know who this guy was, but we're chatting and, he's like, "What do you do?" I'm like, tell him what I do and blah, 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 blah. He's like, "Oh yeah, Coach K has a show on Sirius." I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "You want to know something about Coach K?" I'm like, "What?" He's like, "The only losing record or only school he has a losing record to in his entire career is King's College." I'm like, "No way. Well, how?" He said, "King's College used to be D2 back in the day. Army used to be D2.
Yeah.
He's 1-3 against King's College.
There you go.
The D2 level in his entire career. His only losing record against a school is King's College. So if I see him this year, I barely have ever chat with him. Should I bring that up?
I mean, depending on the mood he's in, which he's jovial.
Yeah,
more often than not in his retirement age, he would probably enjoy getting ribbed a little bit. That's great bar knowledge. A little trivia for you folks listening out there. If you ever want to bring that up to somebody, hey, here's a little tidbit for you. The mighty King's College
taking down Coach K.
3-1 against Coach K in his career.
Wild, man. But it goes to that other point. But going back to like the retiring coaches, they were all like older in their 70s.
Yeah,
right?
They were on their way out regardless.
Gundy's what, 53? Did he say that on the commercial? I forget. Or 58?
Yeah, he's in his mid to late 50s now. Actually, September 22nd, while we record this, it is the anniversary of the I'm a Man, I'm 40.
Oh, today it is. So, That's right. Well,
like the Miami Dolphins, when there's no undefeated seasons, throw one back for the old rant.
You got to throw it out. But yeah, college football is moving. It's only going to get harder and harder to coach and keep up with absolutely everything. So I think like if you're a coach and if you're a school like UCLA or Virginia Tech, or eventually we could probably say Oklahoma State, I don't think Clemson's going to get rid of Dabo, but go young, because that's the best way to get ahead of it. Like Kenny Dillingham and ASU, not the team that we thought they were going to be, but a hell of a win this weekend against Baylor too.
Great win, especially considering they had those school tryouts. Remember, for a field goal kicker?
Right. Yeah.
They had open tryout competition, and then you win with a walk-off.
Well, if I'm the Giants, we also need to do that as well.
Yeah,
but that's a different story.
Nice. I'm surprised they didn't start hollering into the stands to see if they could have pulled somebody out.
I could have figured it out. But Yeah, so I think you go younger. That's just the way to go right now. It's not necessarily even experience. It's just figuring out how to recruit the modern college
Right.
athlete. And it's not even Gen Z. It's not even Gen Alpha. It's just once they get into college and see what they can make and if they're going to give effort or not, because what we've seen, the traditional route is just not working anymore.
Right. Well, and it's interesting, conversely, one of the games we had in the Big 12, you had Texas Tech and Utah, a
Yeah.
potential Big 12 championship game, part one, where you've got Kyle Whittingham, who's been around forever, and you've
Yeah.
got Joey McGuire with Texas Tech, who's been around forever at the high school level. So
Mhm.
you'd think he's got a great handle on how to recruit kids to Texas Tech. Now, when they opened their pockets up before this season started, that helps, no question.
Yeah.
But for Texas Tech to go out again and look dominant where their quarterback gets hurt, death taxes a Texas Tech quarterback's hurt,
Of course.
backup comes in, no problem. And they made
Balls out.
Utah look bad when
Yeah.
a quarterback that we've looked at as well, maybe he's going to work his way up the ranks here for a Heisman possible conversation. I mean, they're the best team in the Big 12 right now, Texas Tech. So
No
it's
doubt.
funny to look at also how the older coaches are handling things like that, and Joey McGuire just knows how to coach, man. And he's got the guys around him this year where he feels like they've got a good opportunity, and they proved it at least in this first matchup. We might see it again down the road, but it was a great game for the Big 12, despite it starting at 10 a.m. local for those kids. Stupid.
Yeah.
Would have been
But
nice to have that be a little bit more showcased for college football, but a great
especially
win
for the
for
Big
Texas Tech.
12. Especially
Yeah.
for the Big 12 too. And I do think, and it sounds so silly, but I've been to Rice Eccles 3 times, all at night. And that place gets rocking.
Yeah.
You look up in the crowd, the muss, like it's scary. It looks like you're like looking at like a pirate video, of like a fight of some sort. So I do think that definitely impacted the crowd a little bit. But for Texas Tech, right? When I look at Utah, they're the most Big 10 built team in the Big 12, and they're tough and they'll punch you in the face and they're really well coached. But they're young and that got exposed. Do I think this could potentially be a Big 12 championship game? Like they could fight back because Utah always figures its way back. Whittingham's a hell of a coach. They're just a 3-star machine that turned into 5-star athletes and sent them to the NFL. Like they do have that identity on the team still. But yeah, hats off to Texas Tech, man. I mean, they are good. They don't make too many mistakes. They covered. I mean, it was just a great showing for them. I thought they could have been ranked a little bit higher in the poll this week. Utah obviously slipping out, but yeah, they're the kings of the Big 12 right now. It's them, and then they might be tier 1. And then there's a pretty big fall off. But again, the Big 12, we said this, it's the conference of chaos, conference of cannibalism. They're going to be beating each other up every single week. And again, if ASU gets hot, man, like that could be fun to watch too. So I've been very entertained with the Big 12. It's been great games pretty much every single weekend. But yeah, Texas Tech, man, that money, the money matters, man. If you got it and you got 55 million and you got more oil tanks to swell up in the beautiful state of Texas, do it, because it's proven that you will win football games if you could pay.
Yeah. I think another huge game, especially for the quarterbacks involved, Oklahoma taking down Auburn at home with John Mateer getting to go against his predecessor and Jackson Arnold,
Yeah.
a safety to end the game, significant to some, to say the least. If you had 6.5 or got a push with 7, you don't often see that to get you home. Although
Vegas
I don't think
knows,
anything this season and maybe for years to come is going to beat what happened in the Philadelphia Eagles game when a blocked field goal not only happens, but then they return it for a score and cover in doing so. No like falling down or taking the knee and celebrating with your teammates. We're booking it. And that dude can fly for his size. Just unbelievable. One of the worst bad beats. So bad, like SVP needs to put that into his like open to the
Yeah.
show. It's worthy of that. We'll never see anything like that again. So if you're on the wrong side of that, I mean, that's life-changing type of bad beats. But for Oklahoma to kind of show the world, like, everybody wrote us off.
Yeah.
This was a bad move for us to come to the SEC. We don't know what we're doing. They get a quarterback that they have a lot of faith in, a quarterback which I believe, if I saw correctly, is about leading the Heisman votes. Yep, he's number one.
Yeah.
Tommy Castellanos 2, Marcel Reed from Texas A&M 3, Diego Pavia 4, Carson Beck 5, and Ruben Bain 6 from Miami. Just how we all had it pegged out before the season on this show. I mean, we had it nailed, so you don't have to worry about that. But shout out to Oklahoma, undefeated so far, big win in the SEC, and what a game for them to not have revenge. I don't think anybody from Oklahoma like hated Jackson Arnold. Maybe they did because they didn't do great, but it didn't seem like he's long there enough for them to have had hatred for him. But I'm sure they thoroughly enjoyed picking up that win as Sooners fans.
Yeah, and I think this game speaks a little bit more about Auburn too, being like, because I think coming into the season, I was like, I don't know about them, man. Like, it looks a little rough, but they could stay in games. They'll be okay. I think they're going to be competitive in the SEC once conference play officially starts up. But it's Mateer versus the rest of the pack. He keeps adding Heisman moments on top of Heisman moments. They're playing in big time games at great time zones. And a lot of people are watching them. And we've said this about like Miami. We've said this about USC. We've said this about Texas. But another team that's like, if they're back, college football's back and people care, that's Oklahoma football, man.
Yeah.
Great blue blood program. Like the uniform matchup looked sick and awesome on TV, but he just keeps piling them up and up and up. But I do think that Carson Beck should get a little bit more respect on his name when it comes to the Heisman because of the teams that he's been playing and just the way he's been showing up, not making many mistakes. Obviously, he had a crazy offseason, one just leaving Georgia, two with his house getting broken into, the Cavender twins. And this kid is just balling out.
Yeah.
And he's really he's made himself a name in Miami. But yeah, to me, it's just Mateer, awesome story. But I also want to go back to like, hey, like, yes, he's leading in the Heisman right now, but shout out to Washington State, because if Mateer wins the Heisman, that means for the second year in a row, a Washington State transfer will win the Heisman. So shout out to the Cougs, shout out to the Palouse, shout out to Mike Leach, RIP. So it kind of just goes back to this. And I brought this, I thought about this earlier. Do you think we'll ever see a homegrown Heisman ever again? So if you look at the last 8 Heisman winners, 6 of them are transfers.
Yeah.
The way that modern college football works out is, hey, you go to a school, either I didn't get on the field because there was a kid ahead of me and I couldn't make it on, so I got to get out, especially the quarterback position. Obviously, there's only one quarterback on the team who could play at a time. Most likely, the Heisman is always going to go to a quarterback unless you have a freak of nature athlete like Travis Hunter or an unbelievable running back, or, I don't know if we'll ever see a defenseman Heisman ever again. But I don't think it's possible, but there's a better chance of a really good player transferring to a school that's really good as well and could shine there, because I don't think Mateer's making these type of plays at Washington State is getting the recognition that he's getting. Same with Cam Ward last year. He could be putting up the same numbers out there, maybe even better, playing against less competition, but still not getting it. But if you're at Miami, boom, you're balling out. If you're at an Oklahoma, wow, this is amazing. You're in front of 70,000 people every single weekend and people actually care about it. You're going to win a Heisman. Jaden Daniels, I mean, I don't think he could have done that at ASU. It obviously is a Power 4 school, but you go to LSU and you do that, you're going to win the Heisman. So do you think we could ever see a homegrown Heisman winner ever again?
The last freshman to win the Heisman was Jameis Winston.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the year after Johnny Manziel did it as a freshman.
Who was also a freshman, right? Yeah.
But it's rare that you're going to find lightning in a bottle for that. Several examples of sophomores, obviously. Tebow, Bradford, Mark Ingram II.
That's crazy.
Lamar
I
Jackson.
always forget he won a Heisman.
I know. Bryce
Yeah.
Young, Caleb Williams,
Mhm.
but the movement that
But Caleb
happened
Williams,
around that.
transfer,
Yeah. He
Yeah.
went to play for Lincoln Riley to help him out, which worked for one time.
Well, shout out to USC, though. If we want to bring up there, that win against Michigan State, I think, was one of the biggest wins and most important wins of Lincoln Riley's career at USC.
Yeah.
Granted, it wasn't a pretty win, but I think that says a little bit more about Michigan State. Michigan State's going to be in games every single year. They're gonna push people around. They're going to at least try. That's what Jonathan Smith has done through his entire.
Well, and he had the injury before halftime,
True.
which took like 20 minutes, and then USC scored the next play, and it was just kind of like, well, that's the air is kind of sucked out of what you were trying to do there.
Man, I tuned into that game. I was watching it, and I went upstairs, and I was like, "What happened here?" I've been a part of a few games where there's just a gruesome injury, and dude, it is really hard to just go back out there and just turn it back. Like, it really is.
Because you don't get to, like, there's not like a quiet room to go into, so you don't have to see. Like, you're there, and obviously you want to support your teammate, and so does the opposing team, and you have to wait for all the medical personnel to do their thing and run through the tests and make sure everything's fine.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the time that it takes for it to all happen, and just when you think like, oh, it's okay, well, all right, well, now they got to put him in the ambulance. Now the ambulance has to drive away. Now the card has to come back to where it goes. Now we got to warm up a little bit and then try to get back. I mean, how do you play a game after that?
Snap back in and go.
Sometimes you just don't, like we saw in the Bills game where they just stopped the game.
Yeah.
We can't possibly keep playing after we saw someone literally pass away on the field and have to come back. Like, it's just crazy that people just expect they're football guys, they'll be fine.
No,
like, and then you have USC score right after that. Like, what are we supposed to do? But to answer your question, I don't think we'll see a junior do it for a very long time, staying at one school.
Yeah,
we could easily see juniors win the Heisman, but you would assume they're going to be awesome as a sophomore and try to move somewhere else to take advantage of their final year. Potentially, it would be very interesting and cool. I mean, it would be a great story to see. But like, if you had to put money down on a yes or no, you would think that the days of a junior being with a school for 3 years and winning it more often than not it's probably not going to happen, which is just kind of the way it is. But you never know. I mean, you could find lightning in a bottle, and we've seen it in college football where somebody breaks onto the scene as a freshman. It's like, look at this dude.
Yeah.
And then if they don't win, well, next year they'll certainly win. And then oftentimes they don't. Their sophomore year, something happens, and it's so hard to predict who's going to be able to be that star for a season, much like we're seeing in the list for who's in the top 10 now. Names that were there in the preseason, not no more. It's just been wild, and it happens every year. We just get sucked into these narratives. This is how the season will play out. The stars will shine. The schools that stuck with these dudes, everything will pay off, and we'll all have our dividends. And here's the pictures in week one of who's going to do what. Doesn't always happen that way.
No, it doesn't. I mean, the one guy who could do it if he gradually gets better, and I mean from week to week gets better, is maybe Arch Manning, who looked great last week, but against Nobody University when he was flexing on that kid.
Swag flexing against poor Sam Houston. That was that was tough. And then social media for Texas putting it out like these are Arch Manning hours. Or
okay. You're about to go into the swamp against a pissed off Florida team who's starving for a win.
Yeah.
And listen, Florida's defense is not bad. They keep them in games. You have at least 2 or 3 kids who will be at least first, second, or third round picks on that defensive line. Arch, that ain't working in the swamp next week, homie. Garrett Nussmeier too. He's gonna go pro, but if there's one guy who could potentially string together a couple Heisman moments and get some big wins, they play on primetime games. Maybe he's that one answer who could be a homegrown talent who gets into the Heisman conversation again. But right now it's John Mateer, and then everyone else is looking at him.
Yeah, which people maybe could have thought, but not at least this early necessarily
No,
for
not
what
at
he's
all.
been able to do.
Not at all.
Looking ahead to week 5.
Cinco. We're already here, dude. That's crazy.
Man. Well, I think Josh Pate had the tweet out, and I'll actually pull it up so he can get credit. He does his look at all the games that are going to be happening this weekend, his biggest games, and his tweet was praying for any of our brothers being dragged to weddings on Saturday. Me, as a staunch fall wedding supporter who also got married in the fall on November 5th, 2 years back, I'm more of the mindset where you should 20 years from now look back at this time cherishing a time you could potentially be with your family and friends for an evening instead of sitting at home on your couch watching Indiana go to Iowa and play a football game. That's just me.
Touche.
Now, again, it's different for these alums that go to the games and have season tickets. It's different for Josh Pates of the world who have an opportunity and an obligation to cover college football. It would be different for the AP Top 25 writers if they actually did watch college football and didn't cover teams and have their focus elsewhere instead of across all of college football, as we mentioned last week.
Yeah, check out last week's
people who are in the college football world, you could argue, of course, you have to work or you're obligated to go because your kid's on the team. Like there's certainly ways where it's understandable. If you're just an average Joe and you've got your fucking 6 screens and your laptop open and your MacBook so you can watch 8 games at once and this is my day, Saturdays are for the boys. Come on, dude. Just switch your priorities a little bit. Go to your sister's wedding, okay? Have fun with family and friends. 40 years from now, when everybody's gone away and you don't see these people anymore, you're not going to be going, I might have had a good time, but Jesus, Mary, and Joseph, when LSU was playing Ole Miss and I saw that on the schedule, I had to clear my day because I needed to see it. And then when they were done, I had to make sure I caught Oregon at Penn State in a week 5 tilt. Had to make sure I watched that one too. I hope my sister had a good time and my brother-in-law's not too mad at me.
Yeah, I mean, you could watch all these games on YouTube within 15 minutes.
Yeah,
right? You can. So we
could watch them at the wedding, like my Notre Dame loving family on the Irish side did. They watched Notre Dame beat Clemson on their phones a couple years ago.
There you
go.
No
problem. Put it at
There's
the table.
ways to get around
Everybody can gather around. My friend came. She's a Phillies fan. The World Series was going on. They were playing the World Series. She did not come to the wedding because, my favorite baseball team is in the World Series. She wore a Phillies hat on the dance floor.
There you go.
Just
I have one
focus
on
the
Friday.
right things, folks. That's it.
I have my last wedding of the month of September on Friday, so I will have Saturday to watch the games.
Thank God, because here's on the list. This is Josh Pate's list for biggest games, and of course, there's a couple other ones, but he's got USC at Illinois, Notre Dame at Arkansas, Ohio State at Washington, LSU at Ole Miss, Auburn at Texas A&M, Indiana at Iowa, Oregon at Penn State, which is probably the biggest of all.
It's the best one. Yeah.
And then Alabama is at Georgia, which is the biggest for the SEC. So, yes, there are important games, but it's week 5, and there's 1,000 opportunities to make the postseason now. If you were to be a brother at the wedding, as he alluded to, somehow you manage, I think.
Yeah, this week compared to weeks of the past or a couple weeks, like week 6 has a bunch of really good games. So I'm happy I will not be at them. But
for a Friday wedding.
Yeah, Friday wedding is great. You got Saturday to recover, then Sunday just get yourself back up and go. Shout out to John Ashley. It's gonna be fun. But you brought up something that we haven't talked about yet, and I don't know if you've seen it on social media. Speaking of college football girlfriends, Whit Weeks, the linebacker for LSU, is dating Lane Kiffin's daughter, and they hard launched today, the week of LSU versus Ole Miss.
Now,
I don't know if it's extra, but like I love it. I love it.
Lane loves social media so much that he might have told him personally to put it out this week on purpose, just to watch the world burn, because he has so much fun trolling on the internet where he had to be in on this, right? Like this could, and of course his daughter may have backdoored a little bit.
She was the one who posted it. So
he could be the one that was like, you know, when we should do it, it's going to piss my dad off to high heaven. This is the week. Put it out there, baby.
Yeah. I mean, she was the one who posted it. So, you know, I think if I'm Wit, man, I'd be like, hey, babe, did it have to be this week?
She can handle it. Lane Kiffin can certainly handle it.
No,
if you're Wit, I mean, the spotlight, it's not like there's not even a scenario or an analogy to use for the spotlight. It's going to be so hot on Saturday. If God forbid there's a missed tackle or a boneheaded play or anything, the message boards are going to be on fire. And the Kiffins are laughing and enjoying themselves. And meanwhile, this dude's getting death threats in his DMs because they wanted to have a little fun on a Monday, and that's going up on the bulletin board. It's not like this is just going to get forgotten about.
Did you watch the Ole Miss Tulane game?
I caught a little bit of it, but they were winning by so much. I knew they were going to cover, which is always exciting again for Lane Kiffin. He knows the cover. He knows the score.
He knows the style points. He knows how to do all that fun stuff. But there's a kid on Ole Miss. I think he's the backup quarterback, Trinidad. I'm blanking on his last name, but he balled out, man, and is like, hey, I know they have a plan with their starter and Austin Simmons. He's pretty good. He's like he's like an 18-year-old genius.
Trinidad J. Chambliss. Whenever you've got a 3-word name, I'm in.
Trinidad James, like, this kid balled out, and I get it. You're going against Tulane, you should, but I don't know if there's a quarterback controversies right there right now, because he has the hot hand, and I'm like, this kid looks different. Shout out to D2. He's come from like Ferris State or something like that. You got to stick with Simmons going into this game just because he's the guy there, but man, you got questions. I mean, you're questioning your daughter's dating the starting linebacker at LSU. Now I got a quarterback controversy here. I need to get a big win here, because if you get a big win against LSU, man, that shoots up Ole Miss dramatically. A lot going on in the Kiffin household, but you know, they're used to it. And isn't there a documentary coming out about Lane like soon, like the many faces of Lane Kiffin or something like that? Like, which I would be amazing if that debuted this week too. I don't know if it is or not, but I cannot wait to watch that.
We'll have to see if the Lane Kiffin documentary is coming out. Where would it come out? Like Showtime, based on?
No, I think it's on ESPN. I think it's a 30 for 30 type of situation.
Yeah, ESPN is releasing documentary on. This is from Rocky Top Insider. Former Tennessee football coach Lane Kiffin. That's definitely how we like to think of Lane currently. Wednesday, September 24th. So get your popcorn ready. When you all are watching and listening to this, you got about a day for you to check that out. So goodness, if they get all access. Hopefully he had final say in some of the stuff that gets out, so he could say like, well, maybe we could leave that for the show credits at the end.
Did you see the Charlie Sheen documentary?
I haven't watched it yet, and I can't imagine how it's going to be. I actually can't imagine exactly how it's going to be.
It was really well done. But this is like the college football equivalent too.
Yeah.
Like that
no question.
Level.
If he wants to open up his life for a documentary-esque show, gracious. The stories that are going to get told or not told or alluded to. They'll get the clicks on the old ESPN.
Listen, I don't know. I hate going back to the New York Giants here, but after watching last night, I was thinking, like, what are some good replacements, right? That if we go down that road of firing Table and starting over again, a lot of my answers actually went back to Lane Kiffin.
Why not?
One, he has a relationship with Jackson Dart. So we'll just start with that too. 2, he has experience coaching, being a head coach in the NFL. 3, if there's one guy that could handle the New York City media,
it's
Lane Kiffin, man. I know he loves it, the Grove, and I think he's done a pretty good job down there. I don't know if he wants to get back into that NFL world, because I think coaching college football is just good for him as a person, just because it's so active and you got to be going all the time, and he loves that life. But I was really thinking about it. I'm like, man, Lane Kiffin, that's actually a really good answer.
Yeah, I mean, his kids
They're
wrap up
older.
college
Yeah.
soon. Maybe it's time to dabble back into the National Football League. We'll see. So the puzzle pieces are just about all together for all we talked about in the offseason for scheduling and going to 9 and what the future of college football is going to look like. The SEC, before getting into what the ACC did, announced their 4 seasons of the scheduled annual opponents, where each school gets 3, and they kind of mix and match as the seasons go on there.
Right.
Entire 9-game schedules will be announced Tuesday on SEC Network. Keep in mind the 3 annual opponents will be reevaluated every 4 years. A lot
Which
of
I think is
factors
great.
involved.
That's great.
I agree, including protecting traditional rivalries. That from Chris Lowe of Now on 3 Sports.
Right.
I think looking at how things are going, no question, is a great idea, because you're going to find a couple teams on the up and a couple teams on the down. And if old rivalries even exist amongst some programs that just haven't gotten back to them, you could bring them back or keep strong ones, or how it's going to look for the better teams, who they should have to play, not get stuck with the not as good opponents that there still exist in the SEC. So looking at it is definitely good. And again, having stuff on paper for 4 years out, people enjoy. Thankfully, it kind of happens now in the season, so it's not going to be discussed for weeks on end because there's nothing else to talk about in the summertime. But for the SEC fans, you have a little bit to look forward to now, and message boards for why aren't we playing X team? Why is Y team playing Z team? And they'll have at least a couple days of fun before they get back into their usual shenanigans. The ACC came out, and as expected, they will move to 9 conference games to join the SEC. According to a source, this from Andrea Adelson, this will be fully implemented in 2027, with 16 league teams playing a 9+1 model and one playing an 8+2 model. Since they have 17 teams, one team has the short end of the stick or the advantage, depending on the other Power 4 teams that they have to schedule. The ADs voted for this, and Jim Phillips came out with a statement. We've been incredibly intentional throughout our discussions on ACC football, including the future of our conference schedule. Today, the ADs of the 17 football playing institutions overwhelmingly supported a regular season schedule that includes 9 conference games and a minimum of 10 games each year against Power 4 conferences. This positions the ACC as one of only 2 leagues, like there's so many to choose from, committed to having every team annually play a minimum of 10 games against Power 4 teams. More discussions to come, et cetera, et cetera. But nice to see that puzzle piece finally land in the puzzle that we're still waiting to complete with what the future of the college football playoff will hold, Dan.
Yes, and we've talked about this a lot in the summer when it came to scheduling. Is like, the beauty about scheduling is you can choose what is going to happen, and you can choose it in the right way, just like the SEC has. We're going to rotate this. It's not a permanent thing, right? Like, I don't think we both saw Vanderbilt being really good, and all of a sudden they're a darling in the SEC. They're fun, and, I can't wait for Bama Vandy. Like, that's going to be great. But if you said that 10 years ago, I'd be like, Bama Vandy? Are you crazy? Like, okay. But the ACC is keeping up with the Joneses, and that's what they have to do. Another thing that we have to also think about, too, is 2026 is a huge year for college football, because we could see a huge changing of the guard when it comes to the playoff, right? It's probably going to expand. And what does that mean, and how does that impact other conferences? But if you're keeping up with the Joneses and you're putting the best product out there on the field during the regular season, it's only going to help you in the college football playoff hunt.
Sure.
So, going to be interesting. Listen, I hope this doesn't happen again, but it totally could. We could see another big conference realignment happen.
Yeah. That's what I was going to also add to this.
We could totally see that.
It shouldn't happen until 2030. I think that's when the TV deals start fluctuating for the ACC.
Right.
But the buyout number gets lower and lower, getting closer to it. 2 years down the road, we cannot have any idea of a prediction for if all 17 teams will still be there.
Yeah,
we have no idea.
We have no idea.
On paper today, it looks great, but in 2027, who knows?
It could all change. It could all change. I mean, no one saw USC and UCLA leaving for the Big Ten. I mean, who's to say that? I'll just use them as an example. Texas and Notre Dame decide, hey, you know what? The American Conference is actually pretty good, and we're joining the American. Yeah. Here we go. Boom. And everything gets shucking up again. So
Florida State wanted out, and they obviously didn't have the best of seasons when they were trying to take all this shit to court. Now, hey, success comes. Who knows? North Carolina, on the other hand, maybe wanted to join them. Clemson, on the other hand, maybe wanted to join them. Not the best year to have those discussions. Now, in 2 years, that might change.
It might change. So you want to join the Pac-12? Like, why not?
Man,
it's crazy, bro.
You don't know. People might start coming back to the Pac-12. We could only hope to get
back
that
the Pac, baby. Back the
people
Pac.
Remembering that it does currently still exist, folks. It is still alive and will grow to 8. Heads up, Texas State. Nothing screams Pac-12 like a team from Texas. I have a quick toaster roast for you to get us out of here.
Okay.
Some humorous news from the ACC, unfortunately, for North Carolina. Clemson, North Carolina plays. Clemson is a bye week this week. Thank goodness for them. And then they face off against each other, Clemson, North Carolina. And people thought that was going to be a huge matchup, obviously. Bill Belichick, and we assumed the rise again of Clemson. Neither of those things have happened, and they are subjected to a noon game when they kick off on ESPN. There's also something happening before the game, and Ludacris was scheduled to have a pregame concert on North Carolina's quad for the Clemson game, which sounds cool. But if he's to do it before the game, he's going to have to start his performance, now that it's being played at noon, at 9:45 a.m. Now, the caveat to that is the time could change, but the press release says he'll be on approximately 2 hours and 15 minutes prior to kickoff. So unless they don't change it to after the game or at night, when it most likely was going to happen in general, you have to be subjected to Ludacris at 9:45 Eastern time as a college student, toaster roast, getting up early, throwing a couple back to get a little loosey-goosey, which people, I'm assuming, we're going to use this as their pregame to the Clemson, North Carolina game. Now you have to start at what? It's like parade day. 8 a.m. you're waking up to get ready to pregame the pregame Ludacris concert before the Clemson, North Carolina game. I don't feel great about there being a large contingent of students that are going to be up at 9:45 on a Saturday morning to watch that game in general. But now, do we really want to get there earlier to watch Ludacris if you're 21 years old? I'm not sure that it's going to be what they hoped it would be when this was first announced.
Well, first off, Ludacris is a goddamn legend.
Yeah, for us, for millennials, no question. I would get up at 9:45, and millennials would love an early start time like that. We're done at noon, get a little brunch, get back home, take it easy.
See you later, chill out. I hope they show up for it, but Ludacris will totally show up. And this is good for Luda, because Luda will be done early now too, and he can get back on his jet and go back to Atlanta. I'm toasting to this. I think it's awesome. And Luda's going to bring it down. It doesn't matter what time of day it is. I hope they wake up for it. Because if you're not, you're missing out on a hell of an opportunity. I seriously put Ludacris in my top 5. Like, I'm really thinking about it. Just his catalog is humongous.
Yeah.
Have you been to the UNC Chapel Hill campus ever?
No, I have not.
beautiful campus to begin with. So Ludacris
I
on
went
a
to the
vault.
school 8 miles down the road, as
Yeah,
you'd
true.
imagine.
Yeah.
Although all
No,
the Duke players apparently often go to North Carolina
yeah,
because
I'm
there's
sure they
really not
do.
many places to drink near
Yeah,
Duke. So that's interesting.
yeah, it's the one part of the triangle where it's more about the
Yeah.
books than the booze. But yeah, man, they better show up for that. I'd be pretty disappointed in that. Maybe you gotta bring Bill and Jordan on the stage and just step back. You don't know me like
I mean,
that.
she'll
Like,
be there. There's no
she'll be
question
there. Yeah,
about
of
it.
course. Ludicrous. I mean, yeah. So I'm toasting to this. Wake up, grow up a little bit and go get hip hop educated by Ludacris. So I'm toasting to this, Johnny.
I mean, both of us can stick our hands up. We'd be there, no question about it. Now we were going to Division III school, so if Ludacris showed up, we could get there at 4 a.m. because nothing's happening at our small towns in Wilkes-Barre and Scranton, PA.
Mac Miller 1 year. Like, this has to be my freshman year. So 2011, 2012, performed in Wilkes-Barre. Okay, that's pretty great for a D3 school. And then we had like Hoodie Allen. Remember him?
Yeah. Our highlight for a concert in that realm, B.O.B. showed up and he put on a show. And he called up one of my classmates raps semi-professionally, and he got up on stage and they did like a freestyle. It was pretty awesome.
Okay.
And other than that,
B.O.B. had some hits. B.O.B. totally had some hits.
Hey, we had Barstool Blackout Tour come to the Hardware Bar, RIP. So I mean, once in a while you get some action. Once in a while, The Office shows up, does their little parade and waves, and they come to town.
Have you watched the new Office show?
I have not. I will not. I didn't really watch the original Office. I know people are going to come after me, but
yeah, same.
I watched it for the product placements of establishments I'm familiar with, and that was really the highlight for me.
Yeah.
Sitcoms and me don't really mesh too well, and I don't know what that is. People that watch a show and like laugh to themselves in their apartment or house alone is curious to me, but that's just the cross that I bear, because if you speak ill of The Office, people will find you.
Especially in the 570. I watched the first episode because I've been living at my parents' house. I don't have a lot going on right now. It wasn't bad. I hate to say it really wasn't bad, but I don't really get a lot of the Office references that they're making. So it was kind of like, but it wasn't bad, but it's better than anything else I've really been watching. My parents love Big Bang Theory. They can't stop watching it. They crack up at Bazinga. I'm like, what happened to you guys?
Hey, they found the demographic on the TBS reruns. They know exactly who they're going for when they keep showing that show. It's your house.
Home run. So yeah, man, to go back to it, you better wake up for Luda. Legend. I wish we could go to this because I would love to see Luda live, man. So the game might not be great. Starting a little early.
You know what the interesting question is that we hopefully maybe a reporter will hear this and ask, like Chapel Fowler, who's the Clemson reporter, who's reporting on this. Great maybe guy. He'll listen and he'll be able to ask Bill this at some point. Who do you think knows more Ludacris songs, Bill Belichick or Jordan Hudson? Because she's 24. Yeah. I mean, Luda's pretty much way past her prime. Bill's in the locker room for Luda's peak, and I'm assuming that was getting played yearly for a decade. And at practice, if guys are showing up blaring it out of their cars, he might be familiar with the Ludacris catalog. He might give one of those like 10-minute long when you ask him how to block a punt and he pontificates for an hour and a half, but then you ask him just like a small, who's the starting quarterback going to be, and he throws an eraser at your head. He might give a little diatribe on Ludacris. They might have met. Like, we don't know what he was doing with the Patriots when they were winning all those games. Luda might have been in the building for a couple of those moments. Somebody needs to find out who knows more about Ludacris. Bill Belichick at 73 or Jordan Hudson at 24.
Yes, one of the 2006 classics, PIMP. Yes, amazing. Yeah. Does Ludacris show up with the big hands and feet? You know what I'm talking about from the Get Back video?
Yeah.
Does
I
he
don't
come
know
out
if
on
he's
that?
going to have like his carrot top accessories at 9:45 in the morning. He
Yeah.
might just play it straight and keep it easy. But I mean, there's got to be a representation from North Carolina. That's all we have to say. Like there's curses and things that happen in college football. You say on the internet you're going to eat dog poop and you don't. See what happens to your school. There's things that you have to come and do if you portray it and put it out in the universe. If Ludacris is coming to your school to perform and you thought it was going to be a night show, but now it's at 9:45 a.m., you still got to show up. That's it. You heard it here on Coast to Coast College Football. We wouldn't lead you wrong. We did enough fun things in our day.
We
which
still do.
unfortunately
We
gets
still do.
farther and farther away. We would be at the Ludacris concert and have the time of our lives. That's it for us. Sick Media Coast to Coast College Football Show. I'm at London Bridge on Twitter. He's at Dan Lynch Spurts, SPURTS. We're also at SickPod CFB. We'll post some clips from our show throughout the week. You can follow us there and leave any comments or troll us for anything we've done wrong or tell us why you hate Ludacris, and we'll have to come back at you as angry as ever. Or if you're a fan of non-wedding receptions and parties that don't preclude on your precious college football season, let us know. YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you're getting your shows, you'll find us. Head over to Spotify and find Ludacris playlist and have yourself a great night, folks. That's all we got for you. Or listen to it at 9:45 in the morning just to get ready for.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast Coast to Coast College Football on YouTube, X, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.